Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Naschat podcast. This is part 2 with Lance Bowen. If you haven't already seen part 1, I suggest you go back and watch that first because there's a lot to catch up on. But we really need to crack on because boy, can Lance go on. So let's go back to your racing.
Yes. Off tangent
I am known for digressing. So obviously, Class 2.
Yeah.
You know, when you was back doing it in them days, you know, new girlfriend, Class 2 that you'd been forced into buying.
Yes.
What was your finances like?
Oh, I was broke like every other, like, sort of 22-year-old, really. Sort of just everything you live in, sort of hand to mouth, aren't you?
Plowing
Spending your money.
Yeah.
We're going out, we're still partying and drinking, and we racing, living the dream as it is, and it no cares. It was good, but
I mean, in Leominster as well. Oh, sorry, Leominster.
Leominster, yeah.
I mean, it's fair to say that probably a pint of beer was in '92 was probably still only like 15 pence, where it had gone above a pound in the real world.
Well, I drink cider now because in the local pub they put Carlsberg as it was at the time, which is not the greatest pint in the world, not known for it, but they went from £1.95 to £2.10, and I was like, right,
that was it.
I'm not drinking that anymore. What have you got cheaper? He's got a Strongbow at £1.90. Right, I'll drink Strongbow because it's £1.90. 3 months later, he put that up as well. But I was already hooked into cider by that point. But yeah.
So after your Class 2 years,
Yeah.
you was destined for open wheels.
Yeah, I never drove one, and I sort of watched him. I've always liked me special stuff like that, so I was like, I never drove one though. Am I going to like it? Am I not going to like it? So yet again, Gary Morris comes into play. Gary Morris rolls his Class 10 over a big roll at MAP, the old Z-Car V-Twin that Jem Snowden, Nathan Powell, Gary, that they'd all been around, an old car, been around. So I bought what was left of the wreckage of that, and then took to setting about repairing it. The old man helped me. We got it in the corner of the garage, and we replacing bits and getting engines going and getting dry. He'd done quite a bit of damage, and then we made, I think, pretty much the last meeting of the year. That year we went out and did our first meeting. It was a star meeting, and just got there, and it shot an engine. The time.
So that was the TL1000s.
That was the TL1000s. Yeah. Bane of my life they turned into be.
But just again, we'll pop back for a little technical. So in Class 10 being effectively unrestricted. So single car engine, Chevy, supercharger, turbocharger, twin bike engine. Yeah. You went the twin bike engine route, but what made this car obscure was by virtue of the fact it didn't have some 4-cylinder inline screamers in it. It had a pair of V-twins.
Yeah.
Lightweight, should produce a load of traction. We spoke in a previous episode about the Big Bang Fire.
They do, yeah.
But this has obviously laid a precedent for you for later, because you must have liked something in the V-twin, because your jump ship went away from that and then went back to Big Bang Yamahas.
Yeah. Well, something unique with the V-twin. Now and again, I kept it for like sort of 2 years on and off running. It was we were still running on a fair budget and keeping engines in it with two of us racing, and they didn't like the revs and things we learnt. But now and again, that car would fire, and I'm adamant that it fired. Both cylinders, both cylinders power. He started up for some reason, and it was nigh on unbeatable off the line. You couldn't, no matter how good a gating car was with you, if that car was firing, it was only sort of 230 horse, 240 horse, and on a polished track or anything like that, it would just fly from the line.
Yeah,
and the power delivery was nice. Because
we again in an earlier episode we spoke about the V-twin stroke Big Bang stroke. I messed with firing orders in my Hayabusa for a few years. It's that relaxing of the tyre. It's the time element between fires, isn't it?
Yes.
And the V-twin. And that's why a few lads went that route, and a few lads did it in 7.
Yeah. John Gay, the 205, and Pete Ellis, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah. Guy Thomas had one. There's quite a few made them nearly. But as you say, the issue was they realistically was only 100 horsepower each.
Yeah, and they didn't have the rev range. It was 10,000 was enough, and they didn't like being revved at 10,000 for long periods like now. So we moved. That car went, the back end was cut off, and it made way for what was my first ZX9 car, which I bought Class 7 off A.D. Taylor. At the time, we had the engines and the drivetrain out of it. I had an axle off Jeff, and we grafted it into the back of that old car.
Again, technical-wise, if you explain to the guys at home, your drive system back then, what was you? So we have piggyback, we have drive box, gearbox, overslung.
So that I've been on overslung. The two TLs are behind the axles, chain going forward, drive shaft through the middle. This then was like, right, we need to get
No differential.
no differential. No. This then was like, right, we need to get away from this. A good friend of mine at the time, Gareth Thomas, was like, a piggyback's the way to go. Weight transfer when you brake, and he was quite knowledgeable at this sort of stuff. And I was like, right, okay, we're going to do a piggyback. So we got the two ZX9C motors and we fit some E-carbs to them.
Yeah.
Put them in, and it was out the box. It was a good car, sort of out the box. And I was like, right, this is a better thing. What we'll do now is we'll build a light chassis for it again. So we built a whole new tub, light, just a bit lighter again, because the ZX9, they were quite a big engine, very light engine, what I call first generation of what is a modern 4-cylinder, really.
Yeah,
they
was
everything.
bigger than a 750, because like the Gixxers and that were like the size of 750, weren't they? But
tiny.
the ZX9s was
wide,
like a big engine.
Yeah,
but strong.
Yeah, strong. Fairness, brilliant. I raced them engines, and I think I bought some spare. I bought the engine off eBay for £34. It was like that with a broken third gear in it, and got it home, put a third gear out of one of the other engines I got. It was probably the cheapest racing I ever had. And we were lucky enough then, we built a new car. We were lucky enough to be invited to the NEC the year you did it with us. It was 2008, wasn't it? I think it was. And I think
that'd have been with my brand new car that I never raced.
And so we were lucky enough to do that. And then that sort of paved the way. That was a good car. Maybe first BAS final in it, second at the map that year, and I thought this is a good car.
But you was building your own chassis by then, though.
And no, in fairness, I was having some input. Phil and Colin were doing all Colin Court and Phil Mumford time were doing all the work, the bending. They were built it. Phil's work, and you'd go down and we'd help, and then we were getting the panels made by.
So what you classes help? Did Phil classes help, or was that?
No, probably hindered them. Yeah. Well, you had to stay out the way because Colin's liable to poke the hot welder through your hand at any time.
Right, yeah. And I wanted to remember him poking his drive shaft through mine.
Yeah, he wouldn't worry. But yeah, so we panelled him up then. Local lad Carlos Davis helped us, and he's found the most. We're panelling him up at home, then we're putting it all together. And that was a good car, and
great way to go racing.
Yeah, loved it. And then we rolled it over, had a massive accident caused by Colin, funny enough.
Your teammate.
Yeah, me mate at the time as he come across the street. Yeah, a big roll, wrecked the car, broke my shoulder, broke my collarbone at the time. But like 6 weeks later, Gareth come over, in fairness, he was off work, and they cut the car up, grafted a new front on, and it actually made the car better, in fairness. The second version of it was like, we'll shorten that a little bit now. We'll move. Yeah. We got it in bits. We might as well move this around.
But that is grass track racing. I mean, I suppose nowadays everything's trying to be, from a safety perspective, we're trying to ultimately, they're so fast. But back in them days, you didn't give a second thought. Let's just lock the front off, lock the back off. Now we've got this little tag hanging on it. That sort of prevents you from doing that. Yeah, but actually it doesn't. It just means you've got to go for a process before you do it. Yeah. But the actual back in those, I used to, I remember my 2003 Class 8 is a prime example. 2002, my car was a little wild wheelie machine, and at the end of the season, they were jumping on wheeling. Everybody's going to get banned for wheeling. So I thought, I'm going to have to build something safer. The problem was I was the only one of the manufacturers that did. So when I'd started 2003 season with a slightly longer wheelbase and a bit less rear weight, the guys that was wheeling last year are still wheeling and they're beating me.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to the Map Open. I think I'd been in the Map Open final 5, 6, 7 years in a row. And I went to the Map Open and went home Saturday. Shiny start line, not enough rear weight because I'd taken it out. And I actually went, young Jack Harvey, my little protege that obviously went off and was racing in IndyCar now. Jack was kart racing at Shennington, and I literally went, I'm not going to make the final, and I loaded up Saturday, and it was the first time ever I left a race meeting early. I was so disillusioned. I went home and I made a small adjustment. I cut 4.5 inches out of it, and I raced it the following weekend. It was electric, and 2 months later I won the nationals in it. You know what I mean? But
that
it was
much of a difference.
Yeah, but no one was frightened of getting a 9-inch grinder out.
No.
Now, nobody wants to burn the powder coat, do they?
No, you're right.
And that car won best turned out car at the Nationals that year, which was a laugh between myself and Stuart Whitehouse, who were doing my signs at the time. Because
smooth and right paint.
Well, we aerosoled it with some wheel silver, and we were putting stickers over the bad bits, and went and got best turned out car.
That's the way it should be.
But so obviously from there, we've gone from the Kawasaki job. Yeah. Now, from a working life, you've gone from the young skint kid who likes the cheapest cider he can buy, but you've started to get into business.
Yeah, but that fairness, I worked for Pat Smith for like 6 years, 7 years. And that's what set me up. And I'll never knock it. That's what set me up. Did some hours, mind. You were traveling up and down the country, fixing fleet kit and everything. And it was nothing to do 78 hours a week.
Yeah.
It can be done. But then that stacks the other way, that when you're doing 78 hours a week, you can get some money behind me. And then that set me up then. So obviously in 2012, with helping parents and friends and stuff like that, set up Lemps Auto Supplies. And and sort of not looked back since. That's
still going strong.
Still going, expanding. There's like sort of, I think there's 9-10 staff of us now.
But then on the side of the auto spares, you've now got the garage.
Yeah.
And the race car preparation.
Yeah.
Was that just to keep Archie off the streets?
Oh, yeah. We try and keep him away from the burger van. So that sort of just expanded from it, really. The garage wasn't the full intention. It came about and it was an option, and we had to do something at the time, so we took it. And then Arch was just about finishing his training, his general car training. So Arch said, well, can I come and work for you? And reluctantly, because I'm never usually a big fan of mixing family and business, but I was like, yeah, okay, you can come. I've got to put up with you anyway, so you might as well be there. And then.
Well, you can give him a slap during the day when no one's looking.
Oh, yeah. He's getting a bit big for it now.
He is actually, yeah.
He's going to start slapping back before long. But yeah, so then Arch came along and we set up doing the grass cars.
Having your own business and making a success of it, and it's fair to say that, your services now not only feed the town and the locality with, with auto spares. Obviously, a lot of people rely on you for the Autograss stuff, whether it's dampers and shocks and, and all the spin-offs from that. The garage bit, but that seemed to allow you that little bit of financial freedom to go a step further.
Yeah, if you ask my wife, I'm still pretty tight.
I think that's just she tells you how much money you've got or you're allowed, and the rest you have to blank.
It is like so like we sort of at the end of 2000, and I think I ended up buying I bought my first what was manufactured car, straight proper manufactured car in end of 2010. I finished second in the Bass that year in the old Kawasaki, and I thought Simon, who obviously was a friend then, now turns out to be my father-in-law.
You lucky thing.
Oh, yeah, no, cheers me up. At the time, he was like, "You are not bringing that old shed to the dinner." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "You are not bringing that old shed to dinner. You've got to find something better than that." And he so I went away, and again, here comes Gary Morris along. Well, I've got this old Extreme. Well, not a new Extreme that looked old because Gary had it. Yeah. And so I bought that off him and had a pair of 5 PWs in it. Went racing that year, and the car was fast and the most unreliable thing I've ever had. I couldn't keep a gearbox in it.
So the 5PW being the crossplane?
No, the 5PW was the old, basically the 4JJs, just the early Yamaha 02, first injection Yamaha.
The first injection one.
The difference we've done this time, this car come on what was a drive box. So now one engine's facing forward, big alley box in the middle, one engine facing backwards. And it's like, so piggybacked, but with an alley box in the middle, no diff.
Yeah, so from the Kawasaki car where you was essentially piggybacked and chain drives. Yeah. So again, guys, know a little technical insight. When you piggyback, one engine in the front low, one up behind, hence the piggyback. But you got an open chain from that engine to essentially nearly in line with the back engine. That pulls from the top. So your front engine that's effectively in front of the wheels is pulling from the top of the chain. So dynamically, naturally, it just wants to go forwards. But this baby that's hung up here has a transfer shaft and a chain running down. And all it wants to do is pull at the bottom of the chain and pull the motor at the ground. Yeah. Hence, the mechanical traction of a piggyback car is nearly unrivaled, isn't it?
It's good.
Then the gearbox came along. So you've now got a gearbox in the middle, engine in the front, engine turning backwards, sat on the rear of it. But what you've got now is to make the gearbox go forwards. It's 2 gears from the front engine. Yeah. 1 gear from the back engine. So this one goes forwards, this one goes backwards, but forwards. What you then end up with, you've got this gyroscopic
effect.
Yeah, effect and fight. So what you've got is you've got 1 crank rotating forwards in front of the driveline, wants to go down. 1 behind, spinning backwards, effectively not wanting to go down. So what you can end up with is a car that you can run an immense amount of rear traction, rear weight percentages.
And end up with a nice balance.
Yeah, a really nice balance through the centre of the drive. And that is what the majority of twin engine Class 10s and twin engine Class 7s are based upon now, isn't it?
Yeah,
but like when you did it, still new.
Yeah, there was just Chris Ellis's car at the time and Derek Leake's car. This was the first Yamaha one, and I like the difference with the Yamaha to everything else was the engine shape.
Yeah.
So it allowed for a compact back end.
Yeah, the really narrow, quite tall, but short.
Yeah. So you had a compact back end, but couldn't keep a gearbox in it. And I put it down to that the drive box in the middle was too good for the gearboxes in the bike engine, especially in Yamahas who like to make theirs. I think Cadbury's do them for them, don't they?
They do. Depending on what year you get, some are made from cheese.
Yeah, exactly. So I then spoke to a few boys. They're like, the later motors, the gearbox is better. And I was like, right, okay. Right, I'm going to stick with the Yamahas. I'm going to go, nobody got them. I'm going to have them big bangs. So I phoned Andrew Ornshaw. I had one at the time. He was thinking about it, but hadn't done it. So I phoned Andrew Ornshaw. Yeah, I've got one here. You can buy that. So I bought one from him, and then I sieved around, and I think find another one. So I got a pair of these big bangs.
I think it was new at the time. Super new.
Yeah, they were like sort of 12 months old. These engines, I think, in fairness to Andrew, the one I had of him had done like 50 mile and been dropped on the showroom or something. It was immaculate.
Yeah.
So I got it in the garage, grafted them in myself. They went.
So they went in the same chassis?
They went in the same chassis. Had to trim all the engine mountings off. The actual shaping of the engine hadn't altered from the 2002-3 ones.
Yeah, Yamaha have done that. And obviously, with my son Alfie, we've been running the 600 Yamaha, and it is just like an R1.
Yeah.
It's nearly physically the same.
They got that same shaping. So in they went with a bit of grafting, some engine mountings, and that was it. They were in. Mike Lynham then sort of went up to Mike. The wiring was a bit intense on them, so the thing, all of a sudden you're into throttle bodies that go up and down, 8 injectors, got to run the airbox. Yeah, it's a few tricky bits, but we got it round it. It was a little bit temperamental on electrics to start with, but from the first second you press the button on that car, it sounded like an F1 stock car. Everything's running, the noise.
So when we talk about big bang in this instance, a big bang would normally be referred to as a big twin or something firing in pairs, where essentially your motor is, they're cross planes.
Yes, 45-degree firing.
Yeah, so rhythmically, instead of being a badump weight, they're like an offset drum beat. Dum, da, ba, dum, ba, ba, dum. And that relaxes the tyres.
Yeah.
Like we have discussed previously, but it should make immense amount of traction.
And I think that's the advantage to that car. The advantage I had of that car when I first appeared, obviously it was new at the time, it's corner exit speed. Like it hasn't got, or the gear I had at the time was probably maybe not meant for the top speed, but it was done. If I could get under you out of a corner, you were done, because I could get it away. It was good traction. It was good grip. First time I used it on the polish, I thought, well, this is a better thing. And the car turned out to be a good car, really, just for something we grafted together, and it turned out to be a good car. Sort of like worked with it through 12, got it a bit more reliable. Same problem again though, couldn't keep a gearbox in that. Went then, had some 3-speed boxes made, and then that was the beginning of like, right, this is a bit of kit now.
Proper development.
Finished race. It was finishing racing. Wiring was still a little bit tricky on it. You had to watch it. It was always, as I would class as a bit female, it would do its own thing every now and again. Maybe not want to start.
His words, not mine.
And it was a good car to me in the end. And we won. I think we won 2014 Bassinet, and I think 14 wins. Through the heats, managed to win 2 finals.
Crazy season. When you're starting to take 14 from 16 starts, that's crazy.
Yeah, it was a good year, and the car was good.
Then you jumped ship on us.
No, I had a couple more years in 10.
Yeah,
I raced 10 till 18. I was talking about this the other night. So in 2017, all I was class. I should have won a national. Nationals. Probably in 14, I was unlucky. Ripped a back arm off it in the last heat. In fairness to the boys, Elwyn and Martin, all them boys, they literally went out with it, tacked together, did the heat, they come back in and repaired it off. But she was 2 inches short on the one side than the other, sort of thing. And we did the final, and we led away, and Phil got round me, and not much I can do about limped home for second. And sort of like that was the first
good race
one.
though.
Yeah,
good race.
First one that got away, and then so we're framed up for the job. Now 2015 didn't do much of the Bass that year. Sort of just. I think I finished second or third in the end, but it was like sort of I needed that national trophy. I've got the Bass trophy. I needed that national trophy, really. That's what I sort of hunting for. Pitched up, good set of heats. Like first run of the final stop, Phil was crossed over. That's it, nothing. So back to the line again. Terrible start, and then I think I come from last to second in 2 laps. We were on
took
a mission.
to the dirt.
Yeah, on a mission. Been to Withington, big fast track. Track I'd raced a lot.
So nice and local, Severn Valley, massive track, fantastic track. That really is a loss to the sport. That venue.
The best.
You took to the dirt, made all the moves. Everything was coming round the outside, and you stuck it out
and ran out of talent. Just went too fast, too hard. Tried to win. I had 5 laps to go, and I tried to win it in the 3rd lap, and I didn't need to. I reeled half a lap back in on the leader so fast, and I was like confident, and she just got away from me, and that was it really. And I kicked and punched myself for it, and just like another one that got away. And then Stroud was a bit the same. I threw Stroud away myself, got in the lead too fast. I made the move, got it done, and then didn't finish it. And cost me, so that threw that one away. So we turned up at Cumdee in 17 now. So Cumdee is my local track. I am Cumdee king in Class 10 at that time. I don't think I'd lost a race there in sort of 2 years. Me and that track we got on. Yeah, it's fast.
It is again. It's one of my favourites. I love the place.
Red dirt and it's big fast track. It suits
me.
And
it's so fast that when it's watered, it's still fast.
Yes. I had a gear made for the place. I've got an extra gear in it, especially for there, because I can use it there. If I hit the open air, I'm in that gear, I'm gone.
Yeah.
So top qualifier for the final. Nice, easy run to the heats. Favourite prick of the grid, lane 6. I'll have lane 6. Yeah, no problem. That's me grid. I know exactly. I've been out of it however many times. First run of the final, we're away. Let out the corner, slipped across the wet. Phil Cooper come for it. No problem. That's it. So got up into second, ran the outside of Phil. We had a bit of wheel rubbing tit for tat. No, okay. Another lap in, ran the outside of Phil. Yeah, this lap, done. Sticks, come down the bottom corner, red flags come. And I thought, been here before. Yeah. And then... it's
absolutely, your heart sinks in a national final, doesn't it?
It is. But I thought they're not going to beat me today. This is it. They're not beating me around here today. And then, obviously, then the re-rain came and there was a clash of wheels and I had to blame and I had to end up with a black flag from it. And that was probably me done. I went home that night. It kept me up for 2 or 3 nights dwelling on it. And I woke up the next morning and thought, I love me racing. I do. But I thought, this is ruining your life. Chasing this title now is sort of ruining your life. Yeah. And then it comes that time.
And you become so tense and almost so desperate. You don't see anything else. And say you was back in the situation where you had the clash of wheels, you've gone home disgruntled.
Yeah.
Whether it was your fault or not.
Yeah.
So sometimes you do get a decision go against you.
Yeah.
But when you're so engrossed and so desperate to win it, like you say, I've been there. Yeah. It keeps you awake.
It is. Yeah. And they got to say nothing else.
And I also have this little saying, and in order to know what it feels like to win or feels like to be a champion, you first have to understand what it feels like to lose.
Yeah.
And when you're losing at that level and you can't sleep and it's making you ill, and you can't work because of it,
it's affecting you. And I sort of woke up then. I think it was like I did the Monday, dragging me around the floor, and it did, and by Tuesday morning I was like, "What are you doing? You need this is no good for you, business or whatever." And I parked her up.
Yeah.
And I didn't race her all year.
Yeah.
And then like sort of Simon let me have a go in his car, 7, because like that car's not going anywhere. I'm not taking it anywhere. And then he taught me into staying.
So can I ask you, with this situation, did you feel disgruntled on the decision?
Oh, massively. Yeah. If I still can't see it to this day, but that'll be my view of it, and that's why
And that's grass track racing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you look back and think, oh, you maybe could have done something. I can't still see to this day what I could have done any different, really. But that's it. Like But that's So I just
and again, I think it's fair to say from a marshalling perspective, and from the guys like now in the video room and all that sort of thing, because obviously we've got video assisted referees now and all that sort of thing. It is an unbelievably difficult job. More difficult back in the day when it had to be made with no reference to go back to.
They saw it once. It's hard, isn't it? Yeah.
One of the hardest jobs in the sport.
Oh, definitely.
You can't please everyone, but it doesn't change the way you feel when you leave, does it?
No, exactly. Nothing's going to take that feeling away. And we carried on in 18, and Simon took me into it. Archie, obviously, brother-in-law at the time, said I had 1 more year in the juniors. He's like, well, don't do anything yet. Archie's got 1 more year. Let's see this year out. And I did, and I carried, and I dragged it back out in 18. I think I finished second or third in the Bass that year. Got to the national final again.
Now you see, there's a whole change in your demeanour as this conversation's gone on from the guy racing the Class 2 that you were forced to buy because your girlfriend rolled it, and this, that, and the other. And now, as we've gone further through the career, you're now referring to a second or third in the British Championships, like quite dismissive.
Right. Yeah, and it feels bad, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it's like, but again,
it's promise once you've been first.
That's right.
Nothing else.
And
it develops a hunger for it.
Absolutely. And I've suffered this.
Yeah.
And I've tried to deal with it. And I've actually got to a stage in my life at 50 years old. And I've seen champions that didn't, and I'll use notably my great mate John Whitehouse.
Yeah.
Mal Cooper. I think Mal was in his 50s when he won his first and only national title.
Yeah. Gareth, 54.
Gareth, great example, 2011.
Yeah.
And
my father-in-law, he probably should have one and hasn't.
Well,
and I'd love to beat him.
We could spend as long as you like talking about that.
Yeah. I'd love to beat him to one.
But I realised that time felt like it was running out for me, and I have an excessive fear of not winning.
Yeah,
and it's not losing; it's not winning. And so for me, the timing was perfect. But for me, when I dropped on another national title or two, as it turned out to be on the day, it had to be today.
Yeah, because
I can't do this again.
No, you're not going to peak that. Are you?
Yeah. Now you're still young enough, of course. You know what I mean? And I talked to many, but it's not all about. It's about how you feel. Like for me, I felt time was up. And yet, as I've said, there's been plenty of champions that's won the nationals, older than me, and people that are still super competitive people older than me. But I was out of time.
Yeah,
you're not. You've just got to regroup. And the last couple of years, obviously, we'll not go too much into the hot rods, but you disappeared off international hot rod racing for a few years.
Yeah, when I did national hot rod, come to the end, car was sold to Mark Griffiths. Another ex-grass, and Andy Shaky Lee had a hot rod for sale, rung me up, said, would you be interested? And I was like, I need a change. But let's go do this.
Obviously, just to sort of digress a little bit on that, father-in-law Simon, he had left Autograss himself for quite a few years and gone off national hot rod racing. So I think he was keen for the idea.
And it gave me a little bit of a head start because I had some boys who knew about it and knew the series and knew some people. Arch was at the right age where he was sort of keen to help. And off we went, and it was a bit alien, I must admit, the first time at Birmingham on a cold
Well, you're also quite, what's the word? You're quite flamboyant.
Yes, yeah.
And it doesn't fit
hot rods. No, apparently, as they told me. And it was, we had the Tigra, and it was good. The change was good. It was nice to just do some different, meet some different people, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We went off. COVID come, obviously stemmed. So we started in 19, then COVID come, so we lost a year. Come back in 21, so things changed. I only had 1 year, sort of 19, a bit 20 as normality. So in 21, things changed for us drastically as along comes Zach.
Do you want to delve into the personal side?
Yeah.
So you had obviously
little boy,
life changing.
Things happened, didn't they? And so we had Zach, and we sort of he's got issues. He's good. So we sort of things.
He's motoring now, though.
Yeah. Oh, he's a troublesome one. And I'm like, so we have to sort of couldn't go hot rodding very easily. And then it was like, what we're going to do? No. And I sort of was going to come back. Maybe we should go back grassing. Maybe we'll do a bit more hot rodding. And I said to Joe,
all while this was going on, you were still the chairman of Board of Counties Autograss.
Never stopped. Yeah. I've never left it, but I just left the racing side of it, the pressure side of it as it is. And we and ahed, and in the end was like, I went and I probably did the fatal thing. I had a really good meeting in the hot rod.
Yeah.
Pitched up, won the first heat, and then old shot, I thought, this is good. And then had a third and a second heat, qualified pole for the final, won the final. And this is good. We're enjoying this. I tell you what we'll do. We'll have a new car and we'll see. So we bought, went to Carl Boardley, and then bought a national Ginetta, a national Ginetta, which is like his fully space framed, fiberglass bodied silhouette car, Vauxhall 16 valve, which is the option. You can have a Vauxhall Duratec. Obviously, opted for a Vauxhall 2-speed box.
But ultimately, like from an engine perspective, they're tuned to the moon, but they're all
carburetor.
Yeah,
and a carburetor and fixed.
Yeah.
Fixed box, yeah, but they're for what they can get out them Foxes is amazing, and the car, in fairness, was amazing. The Tigra was always okay. I always struggled with the Tigra, and it turned out to be no different to grass in the end. And lack of knowledge probably didn't help. So jumped in this Ginetta, and we had a set of cardboardy shocks on it. Yeah. And in fairness, it's like sort of moving shocks in grass, and when you get a proper set of valve shocks all of a sudden, and this car is like, well, this is good. And
but there's a misconception, isn't there? Because a shock absorber, and I'll name a few, so whether it be an Öhlins or a Fox or an X-Trax or the old Strikes I used to do, or a Leader or a Spax or
anything,
they all carry a badge.
Yeah.
But the value isn't in the badge.
No.
The value of a shock absorber is the same as an engine. If you put the camshafts in wrong, it's shit. Yeah. And shockers are the same. It's all about having purpose-built shockers. And you know you've got the right shock guy when he won't build them until you've given him all the information. And you ring him and say, how are you getting on? You didn't give me that measurement. And he hasn't even started. In fact, he's not even wrote a job sheet.
No, why are you hassling me?
Yeah, that's right. And when I know myself, as my relationship grew, and I'd had my own brand of shocks for a while. And, you know, the Strike Racing shocks was me. And they had later turned into the components for the X-Track.
Yeah.
But when I went to Paul and he asked me for all this information, so Paul Jones at ProLinks, and the billet Fox had just come available, the first 3-way Fox. I wanted to do it with Paul. He came to me, brought some to show me. I was like, yeah, I want them. And then he starts asking me for information. I'm like, well, I've never asked this before.
No.
But we then went and did a day's testing. I learnt more in an 8-hour day on Scunthorpe Autograss's track at Blyton than I think I could have learnt in a lifetime.
Yeah.
By real-time valving and adjustments.
Yeah.
And changed my direction.
And it's understanding. It's an understanding, though, and it's getting that understanding. And downside, I spent so many years on dirt that I couldn't grasp that tarmac understanding quick enough. We were getting better at it, but not really. Them boys have been in the same situation as me. I've been started 20 years on dirt, and they've been 20 years.
And their wind is smaller.
Yes.
Yeah. We can take a punt, and they
can't. And the wind of the car's smaller. I think that's what people don't get with like hot rod. Hot rod is very sort of different, precise. You've got an understeery car in a hot rod, you've got it for 25 laps, and it's going to punish you for it. Yeah. Where if I've got an understeery grass car at the moment now, depending on who I've got with me and how the track's dependent, I'm backing it in at 90 mile an hour, and I'll run on the back wheels and get through this.
I've always had a saying that it only understeers once.
Yeah, exactly.
The second time it goes in backwards.
Yeah, exactly, mate. So, but that's not the option. So it was a good thing, and like the Ginetta was a good car, and in the wet, and I think that's the Tigra was awful in the wet, and Ginetta was good in the wet, and all of a sudden my forte was probably more in the wet. I was used to that slippy surface. I could get good drive out of a corner. Carl was good for me at the time.
And obviously been around the game forever.
Yeah, and he was good for information and driver and little things. Probably what we do grassing, or I try and help people now with a bit of driver coaching. Like he moaned at me, I'm a monster on the brakes, and then I'm too hard on the throttle. Well, I've done 20 years of being latest on the brakes, so I want to be in the bend first and third on the throttle because I'm out of here. And it's like, no, you've got to let the car rotate. And it was good. And in fairness, that's probably paid a little bit coming back. There's things I've learned and stuff from the hot rodding and coming back. But
yeah, whether that just be a slightly progressive braking and you know, like I learned from the modifieds on the stadium that I was always like you, jam it on its nose, turn it, do the rest on the throttle.
Yeah.
On the modified, you trail the brake to the middle and then look for an exit. And when I came back, I started doing that. And on the shiny, it's a massive thing.
Alter your brake pedals and stuff like that.
All sorts. So, you had your sort of foray into that.
It was, and it was good. And I did the world final, and it was like,
which must be an amazing experience.
Yeah. So the world final was the best bit of it. And what's different about the world final to what the rest of the meetings are, I could take the family. We went for the weekend. You could do a 2-day event. It's like a grassing event. And we went, and it was a really good weekend, because the problem is I was having we're obviously racing a lot at Ipswich, Aldershot, Hensford, a mechanic, and things like that. Well, we're going a day in a van. We needed to get there, need to get back. It's 8 hours, it's 8 hours traveling Ipswich back, and we needed to be there and back, and I can't take Jode, I can't take Zach. And that's not how I want to go racing. I want to if I'm going racing, I'm going as a family. That's what I want to do.
That's what brought me back from the stadium.
Yeah.
And I only went for 2 years, and my family didn't enjoy the environment and the firing everywhere on a Saturday afternoon and coming back at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
They just didn't
enjoy
it.
It's hard,
and it's just different.
Yeah,
different.
It's great as a driver and you're getting some laps in, and I love it, and I don't regret doing it. But life circumstances change, and all of a sudden I needed to be like, well, I want to go. The World Final was the end for me a little bit, because it was like, right, we've had a really good day, a weekend as a family. I want that
memory.
I want that. I like taking Zach. We went out the track, and I like just going.
Yeah, because at the World Final, you take the family on the parade lap.
Yeah, everything. And in between that time, though, in sort of late 23, the lad Steve Drayton from Somerset built a Ducati Class 8. And built by John Gay, and they'd done this development. It'd been ongoing.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it is. And they'd been chopping around, so it's been done. This V4 Panigale. John had been pestering. When we were building Jones's car originally, he said about it, but it was going to be a big budget car initially. And I said, John, Jones is not on that big budget. We need to be doing a booster, so we got something nice and simple. So this car was floating around. Steve was struggling with it. John, and he offered it a couple of people to drive, and John said to me, can I get Lance to drive it? And I was like, I've been at the game, John, I'm probably a bit old hat. He said, yeah, but you'll be all right. So the car was dropped with me. End of 23, the car was dropped with me, and I was like, right, okay, I got this car, right? And went and did a couple of meetings in it, and oh yeah, it's got some potential. There's a few issues here, kept turning itself off and stopping, and wiring issues. We worked our way through that. Sort of did a meeting, sussed out. This thing's got Brett can't slow this thing down. Everybody else is managing to slow down in these calipers. Can't slow this thing down. So all right, it's a slip a clutch in this thing. Yeah. So all right, okay. So get onto suture, get a clutch made, and this is all going on with the hot rodding a bit. But what was nice, we sort of got a caravan again. We were going off for the weekend with the grass in. Okay, not getting the racing, but it was nice to see people, and it was just nice to be back around with the kid and taking the missus round.
There is an element of the track time thing. But I think we discussed this with Dan Johnson. Dan's used to the 25, 30 lap finals. He comes grassing, he don't want any more than 7. Maybe he's out of breath.
Well, I said this to
but also, it's what we do. As a speedway rider, I always want to be a speedway rider.
Yeah.
As a speedway rider, I'm ready for it all to be over in a minute. I want to just out the blocks.
Yeah.
Let her have it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm the same. A 4-lap grass race or 5-lap race, it's enough in a grass car. And if you're on it and from the start and you're resting the
on
thing
a physical
round,
track,
you're resting the thing round there. It's enough. You could more races. I wouldn't never be against. Hence where I'm at now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this Ducati was sort of floating around, and I sort of fell in love with this Ducati. It was it's a little bit different. There's no others, and I like to have something different. And we persevered with that, and the hot rod then was sort of just taking the back 24. Then we finished with the hot rod at the World Final. We did one meeting after, ended up getting trashed, and it was or do 2 meetings and stuff getting trashed, and couldn't fix it in time. Arch was busy with the grassing. Simon was coming with me. Business had gone mental, where I sort of employed Archie to look after the hot rod in sort of 23, 24. Business was too busy for that now. We've got George to look after. We've got doing a bit for Paul. We're doing a bit for these boys. And this is... It's good, it's life, and it's enjoyable.
And truthfully, I think that side of the National Autograss preparation and all that, if you're in the preparation and the setup and the repairs and the rebuilds, that's actually the side to be in. Building the cars from scratch, you don't want to be there. You want to be assembling the finished products and making them pretty and setting them up.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got a good team there, team of drivers. You can really can achieve something with what you've got there.
Yeah, and some nice people. And Hot Rod took a back burner, and then we made the fatal mistake of going on holiday with the Grassers, as you do. So off we go to America, a load of us. Sparky's there. You might as well race that 10 next year. Which was your car? Which was my car, which Sparks then had for a few years. He's like, no, I'm not interested in racing. I'm going to race Class 7. And I was like, well, maybe I will. And he's like, no. And it was come March, he's like, what are you having this car? Drop it over then. It's still got an engine blown out of it from whatever he used it back in like 8 months or 9
Well,
months before.
Didn't Reese have a big crash in it?
Reese had a massive role in it. I borrowed it back and I did North Shropshire Bass in 22 for him because it was just the car just got away from a bit. Did a full setup on it. Appeared at the Bass Train, actually snuck in the final. I think the first and 2 seconds got me in the final. Got tangled with Wes in the first bend or whatever. The car left there, and it was like, said Reese, there you go, you got to. That car's good as it's been, and then Reese recently got 3 laps out of him and had a big barrel roll and that
killed it.
Yeah. So yeah, it had a bit of timeouts, but like Spark's like, there it is, it's got the engine in it, help yourself. So we appeared back with this car. And which was like,
so now you're a 2-car family.
Now a 2-car, yeah. So I now I've still got Hot Rod in the garage as well, which is really cheering to miss it up. Like, she's like, and I was like, don't worry, dear, we don't own them. It's fine. And and then 25 started, and we sort of ended up.
And you're right among it. It's fair to say you're right among it. I mean, you're making Bass finals with the little Panigal.
Yeah, exactly. Which isn't so bad for some fat old retired bloke, really.
and obviously now, you know, family life's good.
Yeah, it's
little Zach's making progress.
Yeah, he's making progress. We go away for the weekend, enjoy ourselves a bit more. Business, in fairness, is going okay, and I got some good lads in that allow me. In fairness, I had some good lads in then. Otherwise, I'd never got through what happened and the time off and things like that. But they got us through, and they're still there now, and they allow for me to escape on a Thursday night, and we can do a trade stand and stuff again. Things have changed.
Well, the last couple of years, we've spent a couple of weekends together at different trade shows and this, that, and the other, and you're right.
It's good.
Buzzing for it again.
It is, and I think I've reappeared with a different attitude. I don't want to get back to that 2017 Lance. I want to stick.
That face has come back all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm hungry. I'm not that I'm hungry for it, but she does swear me every now and again when I come in, like kick the. She's like, "You told me," and I was like, "Yeah, okay, dear." And it's
then obviously going into. We have to sort of round up from a time perspective. Otherwise, me and you will be here till tomorrow. We're going into the 2026 season.
Yeah.
The National Autograss season was mapped out. Mm-hmm. We was heading for Cumdy for the National Championships in the West Midland League.
Hence the reason I purchased a Class 10.
The King of Cumdy was back.
I thought this is it.
We're heading for Radford for the ladies and juniors. Politics we're not going to go into.
No.
Cumdy handed the Nationals back, and you've stepped up. So the Nationals is staying in the West Midland League.
Yeah.
But it's now at Border Counties.
Yeah.
On a track that no one will have raced on.
No, obviously we would have raced on it last Bass in 25.
Yeah, but there's some little subtle changes.
Is also a little bit of one of them. Because we weren't having a Bass round in 25, we were sort of having a.
Because you'd already stepped in to rescue the Bass.
To help Mallow and Bass, so we can have a 5-round series.
Yeah.
Which on a new track we've not really run before. So
it's an old field that we visited way back in 2002.
Yes, you've done a Bass round on it in 2. It's been raced on and off since 98.
Yeah.
And then obviously we circle around the farm we circle around a few fields with him.
So as the crow flies, if you was at Border Counties now on the pits looking down onto the track, you can see the field to your left, the opposite side of the farm.
Yes, and that was it, and that was the field we obviously used for all our previous Bass rounds and stuff up till now. So a bit of pressure. Most people know I blatantly didn't want to take the Nationals to start with. I had a wife who told me she was going to divorce me.
Well, I remember the conversation, and to be truthful, and for everyone at home, and this is the exciting prospect of this. The exciting part of this is what I got from you immediately, and obviously my fellow director Daryl Smart had been the brother-in-law, stepbrother. So he had been into you. You need to do this, and you initially was against the idea, but when I had a conversation with you and we talked about more about financials, promotion, and sponsorship, etc. Was our conversation, and what I loved about it, and I've not said it till this point, but what I loved about it. You haven't done a national since 2015.
No.
So 10 years as now, but 11 years by the time it comes around. And the reason why was because you didn't feel you was going to get the freedom to do it properly.
No. I felt the shackles were on in 15.
Yeah. And you've taken this on. Yes, you've got an outline guide. It all falls within the manuals that we work two
Yeah.
collectively as an organising body and a club stroke league, but you've taken this on as a club.
Yeah.
And you want to make it the best nationals ever.
Oh, yeah. If I'm in, I'm in.
And that was it.
Yeah.
That was exactly it.
Once,
And you had me engaged right there. I'm like, well, I'm in.
Yeah.
If you're in, I'm in.
yeah, the club of the force behind it. We sat at that club meeting after it, and it was this, and Darren had obviously been badgering everything, and I was like, no. Wife's like, no. And then sort of after the club, some of the club members went, we can do this nationals. And I'm like, no. And they're like, no, we can do it though. We can. I'm not saying we can't do it, mate, but like, she is.
It's a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
But for me, do you know what? The right reason to do the nationals is to put on the best event you possibly can. You shouldn't ever go, let's do that. It's easy for me to say, I'm not doing it. But you shouldn't ever do it and say how much money we're going to come out of it with.
Yeah, it's not about the money.
Because it's not about you build it, they'll come, as they say.
Yeah.
You put on the best event, well, the rewards will follow.
Yeah.
And for me, you're absolutely on the right footing.
I sort of set because I like motorsport. I love grass racing,
Really?
but I like motorsport. So we go touring car, we go speed weekend. I've been to America, NASCAR, and there's bits everywhere that happen at these meetings, and you're like, oh, that'll be good. That'll be good. Don't get me wrong, they do some things, we do some things better, and they do some things better. So I'm just trying to couple some of the things I think they do well, and let's bring it in. It's about an event. It's a grassing. It's about the family. It's about the kids. It's about like I don't want to leave the women. I'm even thinking of having a cake baking contest or something. Like, yes.
Again, that was the views of Lance Bowen and not that of my own.
Yeah, I'll end up wearing one of these cakes, especially if Nick Jesse catches me.
So, obviously, we are going to discuss, your role as the chairman for the Men's Nationals 2026.
Yeah.
At a later date.
Yeah.
So for now, it's been an absolute pleasure to be in your company. But me and you never really get the time. We get 5-minute snippets here and there to have a chat or a catch up. This has been a fantastic hour and a bit. And I hope you guys at home have been engaged and learnt a little bit about Lance. Obviously, he is the chairman that's going to be hosting the Nationals for 2026, and we're going to talk about that with him another time.
Yeah.
As usual, this podcast was brought to us with the help of our fantastic sponsors, there and there. It is absolutely imperative, guys. I need you to like, I need you to share, I need you to subscribe. That's the only way we're going to get this job and keep this job afloat. Click on the box down below, subscribe to the Naschat podcast, and we'll see you again on the next one.